Okay, so this is a photograph I took up behind my house in Barry, and I did a couple of things to it. I cropped it down so I didn't have so much empty space in front of the tree line. And I actually moved the barn and everything over to the left. And if you look at it, you can see that I didn't do a great job messing with it, but it's okay because I'm not trying to do a perfect photograph. I'm just trying to get a photograph that's better for my painting. So what I'm going to do is just start and just see if I can kind of get everything going. Like, oh, maybe this is where the land is. Maybe this is about where the trees are. That big tall tree is right in the middle. Might be a sign that one should rethink. Here's the road. So I'm painting this, the size this is 7 by 15. And I will say, I do wish it was bigger, but I didn't have any paper. I didn't have any paper. Didn't have any paper. I could make it be that much bigger. Okay, so yes, so don't get too excited about stuff too quick. Make sure that you start putting everything in so you don't find out that you got carried away and made things too big. So just get everything sort of started and see where it's all going to go before you spend too much time on any one thing. I'm trying actually to pay more attention to my drawing. I do know that that's one problem I have doing demonstrations. I'm not always as careful as I should be. So the barn is about one barn up from the bottom and 2.5 barns up. So the barn needs to be about 1, 2. Okay, so if the barn was here and the top of the barn was there, that might be okay. It's really easy to get things way out of proportion. So just have to try to be careful about that. And you definitely want to spend as long as you need to on your drawing. And say if I was painting this outdoors, which would be really hard because it'd be about impossible because it's not going to last very long. The whole scene, the way it looks will not last very long. But I don't always do anything, but I try to take a picture of what I'm painting right when I start my color. So I might not take a picture of it right when I start my drawing, unless there was something there that I really loved and I wanted to be sure that I could do it later. But if I was painting outside, I do try to take a photograph of it as soon as I've finished the drawing and I'm ready to start the color. And I hardly ever go back to them, like maybe never. But I kind of like to have that photograph there, just in case I want to try to get back to it and I need to have that same light. So if you go out to paint and it's like, 10 in the morning, but you can't start your color till 10:30 in the morning, well, then that's what time your picture starts. If you're trying to get back out at the same time of day, which is really what you have to do if you want to paint visually. If you're just, just going to make it up and all, then, or just, I don't know, I hate to say just copy or whatever, but then it's fine, just work from a photograph. But if you're trying to paint what's really there, what's really in front of you, then you need to go back at the same time of day on the same kind of day to do your painting. So that's why you have a guy like Monet that's got, 30 pictures of haystacks or something. what I'm doing is I'm trying to compare, just like I compare colors, I'm trying to compare the relationships of the sizes of the shapes. And I'm not really thinking about, oh, I'm drawing the mountains now. Oh, I'm drawing the trees. I'm just, what is the size of this shape compared to this shape? And then, ooh, there are these things in here. Some little darks. I didn't really bring the darks up on the across. Yeah, so it was mentioned that sometimes people are having trouble erasing out or covering up their pastels, their charcoal with their pastels. And definitely if you're using a super light colored paper and a paper this is Pastel Premier that has a really strong texture. But if you're using something else, you might want to be a little more careful about it. And you can like thump it that way. To get rid of some of the charcoal if it's bugging you when you start your pastels. It might also be that you're not using as much pastel as I am. And so, you know, that's personal choice, but that might be why I don't seem to have any trouble covering up the charcoal. And then, okay, so here's this, there's this, and then I am gonna try to draw the clouds a little bit. And, you know, I've got this whole sheet of paper here, and I really right now wishing that I'd started it more in the middle, that I'd drawn my rectangle in the middle of this piece of paper, because already, you know, I can see I'm just not gonna get it exactly right up here. And it's embarrassing, but you know, I don't know. If I was just alone, I'd wipe it off and try it again. But to redraw it, start all over now is a little harder. Maybe I can just keep making, maybe it won't be so bad. All right, so maybe this is all up so high. If you are going to erase with your hands, that's working actually very well. But you want to use the side of your hand, if you can think of it, not your fingers, because your fingers are oily, and that could make a difference in how your pastel goes down on the paper. All right, so maybe I just made that too big. I haven't painted anything this size in a while, and I just wonder if it's, you know, just, it's a really great idea to change things, shake things up all the time. And I also wonder, I'm wondering right now if maybe using a grid, you know, maybe that really doesn't help you get better at drawing. I mean, it helps your painting be more accurate, that's for sure, but I'm sort of wondering, because I have been doing that a lot lately. But I feel like I'm not doing too well here with my drawing. All right, and all this is going to get dark. So I want to get a sense, like in the ideal thing, I want to get a sense of how this is going to work as a painting, not just how it's working as a drawing with a bunch of outlines. I want to see it more in terms of shapes. You know, and I know like it would take me some serious time to get this exact shape of the mountain. And I guess the bottom line is I don't want to spend that kind of time. If I could figure out, maybe Nessa, I'll try to figure out how to make this go super fast, and then you could see all my drawing, but it wouldn't take very long. Okay, so just re-outlining a little bit after all that talk about trying to make it look more like a painting, because I sort of felt confused. Okay. And I wonder, can I make this bump in the road? I don't know. All right. Let's see, it's good. So what I've been thinking about and what I want to try to do is I really want to, like the big thing going on here is how dark all this is down here and how brilliant the sky is. So I want to see if I can keep this all together as a mass and then this business together as a mass. And not get too involved with all the tiny little changes in here, but start with a bigger idea, bigger picture. Okay, so when you have a light source in your picture, you always have to start with that. So like the sun, or say you had a candle or something, you have to start with that because you won't be able to make that look light unless everything else looks dark compared to it. So that's the brightest color I can possibly make with my pastels. It's a really strong yellow and then another yellow and then the white on top of it. So then what you want to do is you want to squint so you can see how dark the rest of it has to be. So, or you can look over the tops of your glasses. So even though all this color in here looks really bright, it's going to have to start a little darker just so I can make that sun look bright enough. So I'm just going to start with something pretty dark. And then, yeah, okay, I won't do anything too weird, I guess. Just get that going all the way across. All right, and then up in here too. Okay, and then yeah, I think I'm going to keep going with the sky for a minute, and let's see what this is. This is going to be those clouds up in here. Why is my easel making so much noise? All right, so then, so I know I've got all this too dark, so that makes it pretty hard to relate these colors to. You know what? I'm just going to start them darker and see where we go from there. So this color here, these mountains, it has to be darker than this. So I'm going to make it darker. She said, well, meanwhile, instantly making it lighter. I just decided I was going to try to keep everything that's in the light part of the painting as much as possible in the same big statement. Not instantly lost what I used before. I should have done the orange first and then put the violet on top of it. Should have. I just wish I had. Okay, and so then this next row is darker also. So what would that be? You know, you can see right here really badly where I manipulated the photograph. So I'm just going to pull that together a little more because that's too messy. And then these are going to be these mountains over here. And then I'm going to put the purples over here. Okay, and then now we're down to here to those trees and stuff. Well, you know, they have a lot of red in them too, so. And then once they get over here, they're a little more blue. So I'll try something like that. I am leaving the car out. I'll admit it freely. I'm not saying I don't think it should be in there. I just can't deal with it at the moment. Okay, and well, the grass here is super orange too. So in for a penny, in for a pound, just start it all orange. And it's less orange over here, but we're just going to make it the same. All right, and I guess along here too. And then there's this kind of a shadow area along there that falls out of the light just a little bit. So I'm going to make that darker. And I'm just going to go a little more vertical with it to make it a difference between the horizontal and vertical plane. And I exaggerated it, so, you know, that should not come as a surprise. And then here's the road. And it does seem like the road, but I'll just make it all the same for now. Seems like it's a little darker back in there, but I'm just going to do it the same. Okay, now we got our barns. We used up all the res there are. And so what are we going to do about the barn? Let's make it purple. So someone said that I was a little cagey about like how I pick my colors. And I really don't mean to be. It's just, it's a little hard to describe how I pick my colors. And it's mostly, you can see I'm not taking very much time to do it. I'm just trying stuff. And I have painted a long time. And the downside of that is that it's, you kind of know what's going to work. So it's just tempting to grab what you're used to. And I decided with this painting that I would do something a little different than what I usually do, and just keep everything really, keep the big picture going. So now, and you know, let's face it, things are orange and red and stuff. It's hard to find other colors in those. If you really want to look and study color, you probably want to paint things that are a little more dull some of the time anyway. Okay, so I'm going to start lightening all this up in here. In the sky. I'm kind of I didn't mean to cover up my sun. I'm just going to restate it a little bit so that I don't lose track of what has to be the lightest thing. All right, this is one of those great American pastels. Just see. It's just not a good orange, Rembrandt orange. There is a good one, but whenever you try to use it, it just breaks all the pieces. So you start out with a whole stick and you just, in one painting, you can just have it be in crumbs. Okay. Maybe I'll try. As it comes further away from the sun, maybe I'll try a little more pink. Just probably going to have to use yellow, but I was just kind of trying to put it off a little bit because of this thing. I just, when I look over here, I just don't feel like I see a dark enough yellow. Whoa, talk about crumbling to pieces. Nothing left of that one. Okay, I'm feeling a little more positive now. And wow, like what the heck is that color? No idea. So just try a little purpley something up there. Way too dark. So I don't, this could be a white or a really light gray. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and try to use, I'm gonna use some purpley stuff in my clouds. Yeah, maybe I'll just actually start with a really. A little bit of a different blue. Wouldn't it have been great if I was so clever that I could have kept that little red outline all along these blue clouds, but not that clever. And I just always put it back in. Yeah, so things are getting a little, you know, kind of mushy in here now. So I think that's supposed to be a cloud, but who knows? This is what I really hate about not drawing it just right, is that it causes you so much trouble later. So just save yourself some aggravation. All right, I gotta put my sun back. I just gotta keep that there. I gotta keep that going, otherwise it could be a disaster. That's also a problem. Sometimes you'll get the color of the pastel, like I went over the edges of the blue and I got some of that on my pastel, and then that can be really annoying too because it gets in your lighter color when you come back. You know, it's not a desperate situation, but it's kind of an annoying one. It would be desperate if you're almost finished with your painting. That would be. Okay, so I believe I said that the mountain needed to be darker than the clouds. I just want to point out that the clouds are darker than the mountain. Yeah, that's still a little bit. Is the mountain too light? Always the question. Which way does it go? And it can always go one way or the other. I think I'm going to try to make the mountain a little darker, actually. Okay, and then now I've got this row of mountains that also needs to be, I need to be sure I get it darker than the one right behind it. And it's much richer color. So actually I'm just using the same color I used to start with, just because I didn't really get it filled in very well. And then I think that this continues over here. So I'm just going to do that for now, just kind of a place marker. And I guess I think this range is over there too. So. And it just disappears into those clouds over on this side. It's lighter. So, you know what, I just kind of realized just from like, I'm like, oh, I need something lighter. I need something, you know, it's not, I actually am really looking at value quite a bit, but still, my first priority is the color. And some painters, their first priority is getting the value exactly right. I mean, I hope I get the value right, but what I'm really more interested in is getting the color right. And if I get the color right, the value should follow. Well, see this, I just have to like quit it because this needs to be sprayed because of how all the blue is coming into the orange now. Happy about that. Okay, so then I've got to get some of these darks down in here. I kind of like the way that, like the blue picked up some of the red and smushed it around. I kind of like that. And I'm just going to put some of that red back in here anyway. And then, yeah, the field. Okay, so the field. That's probably too light. Let's try this. So I'm just making these strokes really horizontal to be sure that I get a sense of this is a flat plane. And then that, you know, that's too strong. That little business. I'm just gonna. It's probably too big too, but this glass is like 6 feet tall. All right, and then the road. I'm also going to try to keep my hand turned horizontal for the road. Okay, and then these guys, they need more light on the roof. So I only had that one color in here, so I want to do some more in there before I spray it. I do try to keep, wow, it's like I can't find any of those, and now I've found 3 and they were all just the same. Yeah, I want to have kind of an equal amount of pastel all over the picture before I spray it. So like any of these places like the barn and stuff, they only have one color right now. So I'm going to come back over them and add some colors. And then, but I can't really work on this anymore right now because it's just gotten too mushy. Oh man, there's supposed to be 2 layers of stuff in there and I only have 1. Okay, try to fix that. Even though I don't know, I'm not sure what exactly I did wrong, but I did something wrong. I don't know if I let the tree line get too big or what. So the last time over your painting, just want to remember to work from the back to the front so that I want to be sure, like when I put these trees back in here, I want to be sure they go over that edge and not like the thing behind them appearing to be in front more. So you want to keep sort of your order And the order of things getting closer to you is from the back to the front. Okay, so I had to do something. I have to do more there too, but what? I think I could add just a little more purple on top of that green that I put in there to represent that next layer of color. Next layer of trees. Yeah, there is more going on in there. Question is, what is it? Let's just see. Can we add some more? Have some light skimming across there. So my idea here, really more than anything, is to have my whole picture look like it's just the wash in this light of sunset. So I'm more interested in the light of the sunset than the light of the colors. And honestly, that's always true for me. I'm more interested in the light, the affected light, the affected color, the color that things look when they have a specific light on them. But the great thing about doing this situation, this scene, is that that affected light is super strong. It's like everyone can see it. Whereas just, you know, kind of average daylight, you might not see it as much. That's why if you really want to see affected light, just look outside at white stuff at sunrise or sunset and see how strong the sun, the color, the change of color is from the light on the object. All right, so this is not really true, is it? It all looks just the same. But I don't know. So I won't worry about realism right in that spot, I don't think. Yeah, there's some other stuff here kind of standing in. And probably just to kind of keep my whole vibe going here, I got to add some more orange to that too. And, you know, maybe these guys are too blue. Yes, totally lost it back there. So this was supposed to be my, see if I can make that lump in the driveway. So maybe really that needs to go something like that. And this really, wow. Wow, I hate that. Hate that when you go back and you really do a serious relook here. So sad. I know how many mistakes there are. And the thing is, you know, it's easy to say, well, so what? How can this possibly matter? Because nobody knows as long as you make it believable. And you know, what's funny is like leaving the car out, that just creates a little problem for me, a little puzzlish problem that, yeah, maybe these guys should have all been over, but okay, I'm going to spray it and I will take a fresh look at it after I sprayed it and come back to it. That's really a better time to draw, not really drawing right now. So this is part 1 and I will do part 2 later.